Close video. The attorney for Serge Svetnoy, the head electrician, gaffer of the movie Rust, has slammed Alec Baldwin's misguided tell-all. The actor spoke out in a televised interview Thursday night. He answered questions about the October 21 shooting on the set of his Western film Rust, where he fatally shot cinematographer Halyna Hutchins and injured director Joel Souza Svetnoy previously confirmed he was standing next to Hutchins when she was shot and held her as she died on the New Mexico movie set. There are two ways to fire a gun: pull the trigger or pull the hammer back and drop it. Thus Alec Baldwin has conclusively admitted he pointed the gun at Halyna Hutchins and fired the fatal shot. Attorney Gary A. Dordick wrote to Fox News on Monday, his primetime show appears to have been an attempt to sway public opinion. However, I think it was clear to most who watched the show it was a poorly planned, misguided attempt for sympathy for himself, he shared. He denied guilt and responsibility and knowledge of the many safety problems on the set, even though he was responsible for safety as the producer. He acted as if he were best friends with Halyna Hutchins, yet he only knew her for 9 days. When I take Mr. Baldwin's deposition in the civil case, I will play this interview on the record and cross-examine him on his statements, line by line, under oath, Dordick revealed. He did not help his civil case and there remains the possibility of criminal charges. Mr. Baldwin should not have spoken publicly on national television. Dordick noted that Svetnoy had no comment personally about Baldwin's sit-down. As for the lawsuit, Dordick said there was nothing new other than we are amending to add some new defendants who supplied the ammunition. Svetnoy is suing Baldwin, as well as armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed, assistant director Dave Halls and many others for severe emotional distress in docs previously obtained by Fox News. During a press conference in November, Dordick told reporters that the movie's producers were cutting too many corners to save money and that negligence on set led to the 42-year-old's death. Baldwin, who was also a producer on the film, told George Stephanopoulos there was no indication to him that crew members were unhappy with safety conditions on the set, though some resigned over the issue. I never heard one word about that, none, Baldwin said. Baldwin said complaints about cost-cutting on the film have been misguided. Everybody who makes movies has the responsibility not to be reckless and careless with the money that you're given, he said. Asked by Stephanopoulos whether the cost-cutting compromised safety, Baldwin said, "In my opinion, no. I personally did not observe any safety or security issues at all in the time I was there," he said. During the interview, Baldwin said it is essential for investigators to find out who put the bullet in the gun he fired, which was supposed to be empty, that killed Hutchins and injured director Joel Souza. In a clip from the interview that was released a day earlier, Baldwin said that I didn't pull the trigger. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull the trigger at them. Never. He said it was Hutchins herself who asked him to point the gun just off camera and toward her armpit before it went off. Baldwin said in Hutchins' direction he pulled the hammer back. I let go of the hammer and bang, the gun goes off, he said. Baldwin said he was doing the interview to counter public misconceptions about the shooting and to make it clear that I would go to any lengths to undo what happened. I want to make sure that I don't come across like I'm the victim because we have two victims here, he added. Investigators have described some complacency in how weapons were handled on the Rust set. They have said it is too soon to determine whether charges will be filed, amid independent civil lawsuits concerning liability in the fatal shooting. Baldwin said he does not believe he will be criminally charged in the shooting. "I've spoken to the sheriff's department multiple times," he said. "I don't have anything to hide." Alec Baldwin didn't do himself any favors with sit-down, experts say, textbook example of what not to do. The incident, he said, left him emotionally ravaged. "I have dreams about this constantly," he said. "Wake up constantly where guns are going off. These images have come into my mind and kept me awake at night, and I haven't slept for weeks, and I've really been struggling physically." Asked by Stephanopoulos if his career is over, Baldwin said, "It could be." He said his next production still wants him, but I said to myself, do I want to work much more after this? Hutchins is survived by her husband and their son. The Associated Press contributed to this report.